Okay, we're recording, and this video is going to be about how to disqualify judges, but in your case, you filed a 170.1 motion, I believe, correct?
I believe that was it. He didn't exactly say disqualification when he wrote it down. The minutes, they write whatever they want, I know, in a lot of cases, not all probably. But we disqualified him. Actually, like I said, he didn't call it disqualification, but we wanted to disqualify him for not putting through our motions, approving our motions, or even looking at some of them.
He basically didn't want to even have anything to do with the motions, correct?
All the motions that I wanted to put in, that he wouldn't take, just about. And the legalese that he tried using around me, you know, he had to out-talk me, and I went in pretty soon. I just didn't have a lot of time to study the legalese before. So at the beginning, he got me a few ways.
But what was the outcome with that judge? What happened after, even though he...
yeah.
He
accepted it real well. He stepped off the bench and he brought in somebody else, another judge. And the other judge came in, and I believe he tried to do some rulings before he stepped off the bench in the first place. Then he assigned another judge. That judge came down within an hour and was an older fella. He seemed to be pretty nice. He said he was in some book club, and well, first he made some rulings the first day. And of course, they kept bringing me back day after day and put me in the back of the court till the end of the day. And when it was just them to intimidate me, I felt. And so then the next guy stepped in and he made some rulings. And the next day he came out and said, if you want to disqualify me, you can. I don't know if he called it that in legalese. He called it something else maybe. You know, and like it was him stepping down. And so he said he was in some book club with the other guy, and if that was a conflict of interest, would I want him to step down? And so I said absolutely, because they were friends and many other reasons.
But of course, he said this after he made rulings in your case.
Private friends, yes.
Yeah.
And I think he said he went golf with him or something. There's some. I'm not sure about that, but I know he said he was in a book club with him. You can just call it a book club, he said.
And so what happened after he stepped down?
He stepped down, and they flushed me over to the other side of the aisle, to the hallway, and there was hundreds of people out there. I go, wow, you know, this is pretty busy today. I'm going to find out they had a jury set up for somebody else, and it was lined up for me. Yeah. And so I had another judge, probably won't say his name, but I told him that I motioned, and I told him that I did not want to go to the other courtroom because there was no complainant, and there was no, I'm having,
no victim, basically no victim. But listen, I want you to explain what was the outcome after the two judges, one that you disqualified and the other one that stepped down. When you were with the third judge, what happened with the other judges when you filed that subpoena ducis tecum?
What happened to the other judges?
Yeah.
Well, that's just hard information for me to try to find out what happened to them.
No. I don't mean like what happened to them. Remember what happened after when you wanted information when that first judge was saying that he was the victim, because you were like, there's no victim, and then the other judge was like, oh, I'm the victim. So.
Yes. Well, they had to have some victims because there was no complaint, and they tried to push it over on the state like I did something hurt the state. So then the judge, I had to get him. The only people that were witnesses to what happened to me, and this will probably come out later. I mean, we can't talk about much of it right now, but the only judge that anyway, that was a judge that went through the whole. They pushed me through the jury trial.
Right, but when you filed a subpoena ducis tecum, you basically were able to cross-examine the judge, right?
Yes.
Because we subpoenaed that judge, and how was his reaction when he was subpoenaed?
I'm not proud of it at all of doing that, of having to put a judge on the stand, because that was the only witnesses that were in the courtroom that, seen the situation, and then all of a sudden were witnesses against me. So I just want to clarify that.
Right.
But he answered the questions that I needed answered, and I probably could have answered a whole bunch more, but I give respect to him, and I was weak on the case because I didn't question more, but that's the way it has to go, I guess.
That's fine. However you feel comfortable. If you don't want to, treat a judge as a hostile witness, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that,
Yeah.
So, but in the end, you only cross-examined one judge, correct?
Yes, that was the one that said that that was the commissioner in the beginning. It said on the papers. I don't know what he ended up. It changed so many names, different back and forth.
Right, and then they started changing the paperwork, and then stuff was missing, and of course, that's why we ended up subpoenaing him as a witness.
All the way through, and I don't know if this is how they do all courtrooms around the state or the United States. I'm not saying that, but I feel there was some little hanky-panky going on the whole thing, and maybe not just a little bit.
Well, I'll tell you, when the jury were friends with some of the bailiffs, I know something's wrong there.
Well, when you try to disqualify so many jurists, and it just keeps getting worse. They're policemen's brothers and guards' brothers. They work down, we live next to a prison, so there's prisoner guards all over in the jury, and I'm not saying they're biased, but as a human being, you have to dig deep, and when you're on these juries, and dig deep and find the truth.
Right. Okay, well, I just wanted to say that just because people didn't believe that disqualifying a judge with the 178.1 motion was possible. But I want to thank you for making this video with me. Okay.
Okay. Well, we'll talk to you. We'll talk to you later when there's we decide to get this out a little bit.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, hold on. Let me stop the recording.